in his wig. That was pretty harsh. But yeah, I wouldn't agree with that at all. And I think that's, him saying that, and then how the movie is still kind of seen, viewed, and kind of endeared by a lot of people kind of goes against that comment too.
They made a terrible sequel. Not terrible.
Yes.
I hate saying that word. They made a sequel, and I tried to watch about 15 minutes of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you know what I think it is? I don't think people understood how good of a director Dennie Gordon was. And I know the script by David Spade and Fred Wolf was good, but Dennie Gordon, really, I loved her commentary. I have so many notes about what she had to go through on this. But like, she does Jack Ryan now, Goliath. She did Bloodline. I mean, Power, Kingdom, Under the Dome, 12 Monkeys, Hell on Wheels. She did a bunch of Burn Notice. Hey, our boy Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
Royal Pains, Kate. But I think she's just
I gotta mention Hell on Wheels too. I love that show. That's such a good show.
I don't know. I think she did 30 Rock. I don't know. Grounded for Life. She did a bunch of The Practice. Ally McBeal. So I don't know. She had been there, done that. She had done a lot of TV. She did Dawson's Creek, Dangerous Mind, Picket Fences. But yeah, I'm reading it. But I think bringing her in as a director was perfect because she did a ton of Tracy Takes On too. But you move so fast in TV. So I've worked on TV shows where it's just bah, 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 bah. So maybe that's why they entrusted her with the 28-day shoot, a TV director coming in just knowing what to get. There's scenes where when Adam Beach and David Spade are talking, she's like, yeah, I had a dolly on the side and another camera in front of them just so I could get the scene quick. Like, she knew exactly what to do. And I think that's why this movie...
mess around. Yeah, we got a deadline here, people.
And the movie works. And I also think they wanted to make it R-rated in the beginning, but then they said PG-13. So there's many moments in this movie that there's jokes in this film that had to be cut out, and then it makes remember that scene with the dog's humping his leg?
Oh, yeah.
That's not really a joke. It's just the dog humping his leg, but it was supposed to go further, and it had to get cut. So Spade was complaining about how they had a lot of jokes, but then they became non-jokes because they got cut for the PG-13 rating.
I think it would have taken away from the movie if it had gone a little bit further. It would have taken away from the good-natured, soul of Joe Dirt, even if it wasn't things that he was necessarily doing, because, looking at that when he's up there, hey, you show me them boobies. And if they had showed like an actual shot of some boobs, I think it would have, taken away from that a little bit, just for the fact that they've showed it, because he has this kind of, childlike nature about him. And, I think that plays into it. They show me the boobies and everything else, and he's obsessed with the cars and trying to find these things, and it's just I think I'm kind of glad knowing that they didn't go for the R and the hump again, the childish things, the dog's humping his leg, it didn't have to go beyond that to just be what it was, and make a couple people chuckle, even if it's just that he'll stop dumping, or he'll stop humping when he's finished. It's like makes you cringe a little bit and chuckle at the same time.
Because he's not Stifler, Joe Dirt. He's not, it's not an R-rated movie.
Yeah, no. Not at all.
You can't, I just can't see you having that. And I don't remember quite so I was working in a theater when this came out in 2001. And it was a weird year for film, but I think I just remember thinking that it was oddly pleasant, this movie. I kind of walked out, I was like, hey, that was kind of nice, right? Was that nice? Did we just watch that? Like, does that make sense? It just seemed like and it was dumped in April. That's never a good spot to put a film. But it just seems, I don't know. I was expecting something much more stereotypical.
Yeah, I think it was a pleasant surprise, because if you see like the poster, even of just like, Spade and the mullet with the mop and everything else going into it, or you saw the trailer, you didn't really know what to expect from the movie. And I know we talked about this the other day about just like having low expectations going into any movie, so that you just kind of try to come in fresh and with an open mind. And I think this one is a big kind of proponent of that no one, if you go into something not knowing what to expect, you just kind of take the movie for what it is. And this is a very likable, enjoyable, just fun ride that you could just, there wasn't a whole lot to complain about, because they were just trying to make you laugh, even if it was dumb or stupid. I mean, I think the stupidest thing that was just like, why in the movie was when he fell asleep in the fumigation tent. And there was just that very quick, it was like 5 seconds of when he was just like high and out of his mind. And he was sitting in the sink and the air popper was going and he had the lipstick that he like drawn over himself and he was like doing something with the, with the sock, and he had the dust buster over his, over his crotch. And it was just like, that was just enough of like going a little too far, but it was also 3 seconds. So, it was, I think it was a good balance, everything about the kid, like there's nothing to dislike about him. And I think that going to the R rating, making him more crass, even if it's just that he said, shit or whatever, and just like was a lot more vulgar in his language, I think that would have taken away from the likability of his character in general.
I mean, Left's Garden, dig it.
Yeah, exactly. And just like all these cliche little things, like everyone hates a cliche, but there's truth behind it. And if someone is like just saying like they live their life by those cliches, like it's a little, oh God, the word I'm looking for.
But he has to do that,
naive,
right?
Yeah. It's definitely naive, but it's that balance of being naive, but also being positive all the time, always looking on the bright side.
Yeah, this is a kid who never went to school, never met his parents, so he probably does have little mantras, right, that he just sort of lives by.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
While he eats his French fries, brother. Hey, so how about this? I just made a Kid Rock joke, so let's take a quick break, and then when we come back, we will talk more Joe Dirt. We'll talk more about the trailer trash, wig wearing, acid wash, jean loving, rock concert, t-shirt sporting hero.
Boom.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to Movies, Films, and Flicks. And during the break, you reminded me of a scene about talking about David Spade actually acting. Well, there's a scene where he was with Dennis Miller. It got to an emotional beat, and Dennis Miller just started making fun of David Spade. He's like, "Are you acting right now?" And I guess Dennis Miller started laughing so hard. He still hasn't watched the movie. He was laughing so hard.
To watch it.
He's like, "Yeah, I heard about like a dog meteor falling on a dog and stupid stuff." But I don't know why I gave Dennis Miller a southern accent. But it's funny though. Joe Dirt drops a tear and acts a little bit, and Dennis Miller's just making fun of him the entire time. But I just thought that was funny. So David Spade was trying, and he had Dennis Miller in the room with him, just going. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, he did well out of everything. Like it's a fun romp. It's David Spade being David Spade and cracking jokes. And later on in the movie, when he finds out that Robbie marries Brandy, or the big reveal, and he's doing like the you crying boy, you crying. And there's that goofy I'm not crying thing. But then you have it when he's in the recording studio with was it Xander Kelly, and they call Brandy, and she reveals like your parents are dead, Joe, and he actually has like I had to take myself. Like I had to sit there for a second, but I was like, Spade's acting now. Like he's doing pretty, like this is convincingly good. Like good on you, David Spade. That's another thing that I was going to mention too, speaking about things forgotten of like why this movie, did so well, or like why it's endeared or things like that. Spade has had an interesting career, but this was, I think this was the first thing where he just like stood out on his own, was the lead, had like everything, and like made it good. In SNL, he had a lot of characters. He did a lot of really funny things. There was the flight attendant, the babai, that was funny. There are things that you definitely like, oh yeah, he did this, he did that. But he was kind of in the shadow, especially of Farley. They did Tommy Boy and they did Black Sheep and things like that. But this was the big one that I think everyone was kind of rooting for Spade. And was just like good, and gave him a big thumbs up. Like this was a good movie, and he wrote it. He wrote it. He did the script, and it was just all around even if Ebert and other critics hated it, it was still, arguably a success and something that has lasted. We're talking about a 2001 movie and all the dumb gimmicks and everything, and why people still love it. 20 years later, which is, if it stands the test of time, what more could you want for a movie that you make?
It made money.
Yeah.
So it didn't cost, released in April. You didn't have 10-pole marketing. Yeah. So it pulled in close to 40 mil. And listen, here's the thing. I understand the 10% tomato meter score. I do. I really do. Because I do. But I also understand the 63% audience score. Which, and get this, on Rotten Tomatoes, the audience score is 63%, and 323,633 people have rated it.
Dang.
63%. So, it has a fan base, man. And I guarantee you that there's a lot of 4 or 5 stars in here, and then there's a lot of 1 stars. So I don't think, maybe I would do it, but I would never leave a 3-star comment for Joe Dirt. Does that make sense? Right? Yeah, it was okay.
It's one of those that you love it or you hate it. Just like, I mean, my wife, Dumb and Dumber, hates it. She's like, it's so stupid, I just can't. And she likes slapstick and just, kind of dumb comedy that you just have to laugh at. But for whatever reason, that movie just doesn't do it for her. I, on the other hand, like, I will, maybe it's my fault that she hates it because I will quote every single line, whether she tells me to stop or not. I just can't help myself. Same thing with like Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore and things like that, which again is kind of similar to the Joe Dirt stuff where it's so dumb sometimes and the characters are just so oblivious at certain moments, but there's that good natured, part of them.
That's what draws me to it. I love Sandler, but Billy Madison I find oppressive to watch, even though I love it. Happy Gilmore, when I think about Happy Gilmore, I think more about Carl Weathers. Or that one guy had a beard. No, he didn't. Or Shooter McGavin. I don't think much about Happy because he's just so angry the whole time. I think I like You Don't Mess with the Zohan a lot because Sandler's just a pleasant character in it. He's Scrappy Coco. He just wants to cut hair. It's maybe that's what I'm drawn to. Goon I love because of Sean William Scott's character. I think he's full of heart. But I don't really care for Stifler. So I think what speaks to me is just the character of Joe Dirt. So let's do something real quick. What are your 5 favorite moments of Joe Dirt? So you do your 5th, I'll do my 5th. We'll work our way down.
I couldn't rank them as far as like favorites or not. So I'm just gonna go down the list that I did. And I know we mentioned this before and critics hated it, but it's just a funny gag and it makes you wince. The nuts frozen to the porch. It's such a, like, that was the start of their whole relationship between him and Brandy, and everyone else is just like Charlie with frozen nuts to the porch. And maybe it's just me, having the veterinary side with what I do in my job, that whenever that dog stands up and it just stretches out, like it just makes me wince, but it's funny. Like it's so dumb that it's funny. So I think that's definitely one for me.
They had an extended take where she was bringing out like egg beaters and stuff to try to get him off, and they were both kind of thinking, how stupid is she? Like, she brought like a fork out. The first thing was
garden shears. It was like, that's quickest way, sure, like just bam, done. But consequences. Get a little thing, a fork. Yeah, what? No, ouch, again.
So. My 5th is I know they had to do it because of budgetary constraints, but there's a line where Joe Dirt has to pick up Jamie Presley's character, who might or may not be his sister. Oh my gosh, I'm your sister. Jill and Joe. But he takes her back to the fair that he met her at. And I just love what she says. She's like, I love that you took me back to the place that you asked me out at. Like, it's just a very random little question, but it's smart. I think it's funny. Like he has no money. He can't go anywhere else. So of course he's going to take her to a place where he works. But I just love her comments. And she said it not meanly, but just, I love that you took me back to the place where we first met. It's just like where I was at earlier.
It could have easily been delivered as an insult in that. And it could have for the different takes that they did. I had a lot of fun, even though back to the carnival that you work at. Like it could have just been that low blow thing, but it came off as a kind of a nice, surprising comment.
I think my favorite line reading of the movie is when she goes, balls to the walls. It's such a...
Balls to the walls.
That's such a great line reading, though. I love that. She puts some barbecue sauce on that one, or whatever Joe Dirt likes. She put some Auto Trader on that one. Nails it. All right, so what's your 4th?
We may double up on some of these, too, but the whole septic tank on his head and then the wash it, I got the poo on me. It's just, again, it's so dumb. but it makes me giggle. I can't help but laugh whenever you see it just going on. And again, when he's just like, "Is it done yet? How much is in there?" You know, they just like tried to like just keep it going as long as they could. So those bits of kind of real moments and reactions that come a couple times in the scenes that come up really are really fun to see too.
All right, number 4.